Hello beautiful people and welcome. In this video we will be discussing the distance formula. Now the distance formula tells us the distance between 2 points. So the length of a segment, the distance between traveling from point A to point B, and therefore our formula is lowercase d. Then we take a square root, so the square root is pretty big. Then we have inside the square root, we have an x2 minus x1. Now, all of that gets squared. So you're going to put that in parentheses, square it. Then we're going to have plus. And then we have y2 minus y1. And we're going to take all of that and square it. And then we're going to take the square root. Now, if you are in my class, this is where you're going to go and get a calculator. You will need a calculator for this. If you're not in my class, you're still going to need a calculator, but the calculator is on you and not on me. All right, let's go ahead and get started with example number 1, and we'll go through this. We have 2 points, 7, negative 1, and 4, negative 7. So step number 1 is to label your points. And you're going to label them just like we always label them. x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay. Now that you have labeled your points, you're going to copy down this formula. Lowercase d is equal to the square root x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Then you're going to rewrite the formula one more time. Now this time when you rewrite the formula, you're going to leave some room for your x's and y's. So you're going to have x2 here, x1 here, y2 here, and y1 here. Now it's extremely important that you do this step because you're going to sometimes end up with double negatives and you don't want to accidentally forget those. So what is x2? Well, x2 is the number 4. What is x1? x1 is 7. y2 is negative 7 and y1 is negative 1. So here is the example of 2 negatives. Right here, the one in black and the one in purple. Make sure that if you have 2 negatives and you can circle them, that equals a plus. So now that you have input your numerics, like you put in your numbers, you're going to rewrite that one more time. You can simplify this now or you can simplify it later. Make sure now that we have a plus that we write plus. Then we have 4 minus 7. Now again, this is your chance to use a calculator if you have it. You should be able to do this by hand, but if you're, struggling, that's okay. Negative 7 plus 1 is negative 6. Now in your calculator, depending on what calculator you have, you're going to start typing this in here. So you have in your calculator negative 3, parenthesis, negative 3, parenthesis. Now parentheses are extremely important. In this calculator, you have this symbol right here, this x to the second power. When we press that, we get this squared. Now, if you don't have that, that's fine. You can also use this caret, this little symbol called a caret. You can write caret 2, which also means squared. If you press enter, we have this value here is 9 plus, you're going to do that again, parenthesis, negative 6, parenthesis, squared. And then we have 36. All you have to do now is add and take the square root. So once we have 9 plus 36, we can again use our calculator, or you can just do it by hand. I encourage you to do it by hand. We have little d is equal to the square root of 45. Now, if you type this into your calculator, you can type it in like this. You're going to press second, and you're going to have this symbol right here. Let's see if I can zoom this in just a little bit for you. This symbol right here, that is on top of your x squared. You're going to press the x squared button, and because you press second first, this button should come up. So let's do that again together. So we have second, and we press this button right here, and you have the square root symbol come up, and you're going to type in 45. Now, when you do this, you're going to notice that you have a icky answer, a decimal answer. So if your directions say round, you're going to say approximate, so squiggly lines, 6.7, and you're going to round depending on what they ask you to. So like tens, hundreds, thousands, depending on what they ask you to. If they ask you for an exact answer, you're going to leave it with the square root. So you're going to leave it in square root. This is rounded. All right, let's go ahead and do another one. For question number 2, we're going to again give you our points. So -6, 4, and 2, 7. You're going to write out your formula, big square root, x2 minus x1, quantity squared, plus y2 minus y1, quantity squared. Label your points. So we have x1, y1, x2, y2. Now that you have labeled your points, go ahead and rewrite your formula. And when you rewrite your formula, leave some space for your input. So you can put in your x's and y's. So what do we have? We have x2 here, we have x1 here, y2 here, and y1 here. Make sure you have your minus already pre-written, minus and minus. So let's see what numbers we have. We have x2 being the number 2, x1 is the number -6, y2 is 7, and y1 is 4. I see 2 minuses. I'm going to make it into a plus. So we have lowercase d is equal to the square root of 2 plus 6 squared plus 7 minus 4 squared. Now this is where I'm going to teach you to cheat a little bit, depend on your calculator a little bit. So I'm going to type all of this inside. Let me see if I can find a highlighter. I'm going to type all of this inside the radical into the calculator. So I'm going to do parentheses, 2 plus 6 parentheses squared plus parentheses 7 minus 4 parentheses squared. Everything inside this square root, this radical, and I'm going to press enter. Now this will give me my exact answer. It is still inside the house, so it's still inside the radical, inside the square root, but this is going to be the exact answer. Now keep in mind these exact answers potentially could be simplified. Right now in my class we are just wanting to get here. Our simplifying of radicals will come in a later lesson. So this is where your exact answer. Now if you wanted to round your answer, you're going to press second. You're going to press this symbol here. You're going to type in that 73, press enter. So you have lowercase d is approximately 8.5 for your rounded answer. Now sometimes they will not give you points. Sometimes they will look like this. I'm going to zoom in. Let's do 11. Sometimes they're going to give you something that looks like this. So although they didn't actually tell you what the points are, they do give you 2 points. 1 point is going to be this one here. The other one's going to be this one here. And they want to know the distance from this point to here. Now this is not slope, so you can't do rise over run. This is not slope. So what you have to do is you have to label this point, and then use the distance formula. Well, this point here is 1, 2, 3, 4, comma 1, 2, -2. And this point here is -1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4. So when we have these points now identified, when you tell me that those are your points, let's go ahead and shift this forward. We have -2, 4, and 4, -2. Now this here is for question number 11 on the worksheet. So we're going to label your points just like we did before. x2, x2, y1. Ooh, you guys, did you see that, how I messed up on that? I'm not sure why I started with x2. Maybe I thought I was working with the formula already. This is x1 and y1. Let's try that again. x1, y1, x2, y2. Let's write out the formula for the distance formula. Lowercase d is equal to the square root, parenthesis, x2 minus x1, parenthesis squared, plus, parenthesis, y2 minus y1, parenthesis squared. Rewrite the formula one more time. Here's your square root, parenthesis, again, leave some space to put your numbers in. Make sure you have the minus there. Here's your minus, make sure your minuses are there. So let's see what numbers we have. We have a x2, x1, y2, y1. x2 was the number 4. x1 is the number -2. y2 is -2. y1 is 4. Again, you can cheat a little bit and type this in. Now, yes, this can make a plus, so you can type in a plus, or you can just type in 4 minus, and then do this negative right here. So let's go ahead and shift this so you guys can see 4. So let's do this again. Parenthesis 4 minus -2 parenthesis squared plus parenthesis -2 minus 4 parenthesis squared. Now make sure this is your minus, subtract. This one right here is your negative, so negative on a number. Equals, oh, it gives me 72. So D is equal to the square root of 72. Again, this is your exact answer. Maybe you can simplify, but we're not doing that right now. We want to round, so I'm going to square. So second, press this button right here, and then you're going to write 72, parenthesis, and this is 8.48 for your distance. Now, if you look here, notice that this 4 is attached to 8. So this number right here, 8 is bigger than 5. So if we wanted to round to the nearest tenth, I'm actually going to round up. Instead of saying 8.4, it's going to be 8.5. And the reason this 4 changes to a 5 is because 8, this 8 right here, is bigger than 5. Right, let's do another one. Let's choose a random one. Let's choose 18. Now we need a point here, we need a point here. So this point is 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This point here is -1, 2, 3, 4, -4, and 1, 2, 3. So we have our 2 points. I'm going to write them out. Our 2 points, this was question number 18. Our 2 points were -4, 3, and 3, 5. Write your distance formula. So we have x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Rewrite it one more time, leaving some space. Make sure you have your minus in your square. Write in your numbers. Oh, we didn't label our numbers. Let's label our numbers. x1, y1, x2, y2. So we have x2, which is 3, x1, which is a -4, y2, which is a 5, y1, which is a 3. Type that into your calculator, everything that's on the inside. 3 minus -4, parenthesis, squared, plus, I'm going to shift this up so you guys can see me type that in. I'm going to do that one more time so we can type this in together. Make sure you are using the calculator and you are typing this with me. Parenthesis, 3 minus -4, parenthesis, squared, plus, parenthesis, 5 minus 3, parenthesis, squared. Press enter. The distance is the square root of 53. Now, if you wanted to round your answer, you're going to second, press this button right here for the square root. You have to do 53 parenthesis equals, and you have 7 point. Now again, this number is 8, so this number right here, this 2, goes up by 1, so this is 7.3. All right, beautiful people, thank you so much for watching this video. Please continue working on the worksheet, and I will see you next time. Bye!